All right, everyone. So welcome to PCI DSS applicability overview. We've covered the requirements and the goals, what it entails. Now, as I said, welcome to PCI DSS training. Remember, we were talking about cardholder data. We're talking about, authentication data, but we need to define those first. Who needs to follow PCI DSS? It says PCI DSS applies to all entities that store, process, or transmit cardholder data, and we will definitely define cardholder data shortly. And sensitive authentication data. If you have your debit or credit card, I want you to take it. You will see so many things. And that reminds me, each time when you're providing your debit card, it's like, give me the three CVV code. That is very, very important. This is authentication data we are talking about, right? And we're going to learn and see it shortly. So before going through that, we'll talk on the key players of PCI DSS. And then it's very interesting. So just bear with me. For the key player, of course, we have the first key player, that's the merchant. The merchant, again, companies that accept payment card transaction, processor, organization that handle payment processing services, acquirers, financial institutions that help merchants process payment, issuers, bank or financial entities that issue cards, service providers, third-party companies involved in payment system. We're talking about that. What are merchants in PCI DSS? Merchants, who they are. First, merchants are businesses or individuals that accept payment card transaction as part of their operations. This could be person, that's retail store or online, such as e-commerce website. A typical example, a merchant will accept payment via credit cards, debit card, prepaid, or mobile payment, even it's like Apple Pay and all those things. Merchant businesses can range from small mom and pop store to large multinational corporations or corporations. Merchants must comply with PCI DSS if they store, process, or transmit cardholder data, even if they don't store cardholder data. And that's why, if you hear what, even if they do not store, they still need to ensure secure payment processing practices. And we will see that when it comes to processor, you don't need to store it. But just the fact that you are collecting information, cardholder information, processing, then you also need to make sure you implement this measure or the standard put forth by PCI DSS to be in compliance. But let's say a typical example. As of now, you guys will know plenty of example of a merchant. Walmart, example, all the shops, anything that you go, maybe your credit or you go to gas station and you're putting, your debit card and all those things. They are all merchants, okay? Imagine you have a local coffee shop and customer can pay for their coffee with their credit card. When a customer hand you their card, you swipe it through a card reader. Remember POPs, the POP system, that's a point of sale system. Anywhere you go nowadays, we do a lot of self-checkout or somebody can check you out, right? The card reader processes the transaction by sending the card details, like the card number, to the bank or payment processor, and the payment is approved. Or, for example, let's talk of a local coffee shop in store. Your coffee shop must protect the details while it's being processed. Okay, we'll see talking about that by the payment system, even if they don't store it, right? Just the fact that, again, it's being processed, even though they do not store that information, the cardholder data, but they also need to make sure it's being protected. This means use secure payment terminal and encryption to ensure card details aren't intercepted during transmission. Let's take example of an online clothing store. Imagine running an online clothing store where customers pay for their item using credits or debit cards on your website. And that reminds me, our UST website, we are transferring the risks, and there are key components in security that you need to know. You mitigate, you transfer, you avoid, you inherit, and so on. But with us, we are transferring direct 100%. And on our website, we do not collect payments. We can either go through PayPal or Affirm. Affirm is for those who do not have money, you can go through Affirm to pay, get a credit card, which you'll be paying them like, every month or something like that. But with PayPal, you can also go through PayPal to make that payment. But someone might ask me, why are we doing that? Because I do not want to be in, I do not want to go and say that I'm doing that, right? I've heard of our student, now living pay through and everything, anyone has gone through that. You understand? So you avoid that. Again, I don't want to, because even when I was trying to to onboard a film with a badge, with a student badge, I have to find out from them what kind of information with our system collect, because any sensitive system, what, because of my knowledge of PCI DSS, right? And that's why I say, imagine running an online clothing store where customers pay for items using credit or debit cards on your system or your website. When a customer select an item, enter their payment card details, card number, expiration date, CVV, and press submit. The details are securely sent to a payment processor for approval. Remember, when you go to Walmart, when you put your card, they'll like put your PIN. When you put your card, they'll say put your PIN. When you put your PIN, it's search. Wait or waiting or give me a moment, something like that. That's exactly what is happening. Going to the processor, a lot of things happen within seconds, that you are just there and then it just kind of like it's approved, boom, you print your receipt, right? Your online store needs to ensure that customer data is encrypted during the transaction process to protect it from hackers. Even if your store doesn't store the card details, you must follow security protocols like SSL or TLS encryption on your website to protect the payment data during transmission. Even with us today, we do not store anything, but our website is highly secured. Okay. But why this matters to merchants? Because of risks of data breaches. He said merchants who don't protect cardholder data could be vulnerable to data breaches where hackers steal credit card information. This could lead to financial loss, identity theft, legal consequences, or even damage and reputation. So following PCI DSS ensure that merchants have the right security controls in place to prevent such breaches, maintain customer trust, and avoid penalties from payment brands such as Visa or Master. Do you see? Yes, so you got to be very, very careful. And again, Walmart and all the different stores that we've mentioned, this article example of a merchant. Merchant are any business that accept payment card transaction in store, online, or through any other method. Because the fact that you are accepting your by default, you are a merchant, they must comply with PCI DSS to ensure the security of card holder data during payment processing, whether it is a small coffee shop or an online store. PCI DSS compliant helps protect both the business and the customers from fraud and security breaches. This is a typical example of all what we've been discussing. You have that, that is their credit card, they're gonna insert it, in the point of sale. So just the fact that you collect that, even if it's in the physical or not, card not present online, you are a merchant. And again, you want to make sure that you follow PCI DSS guidelines. That talks about merchants. So the next one we'll talk about processor. We just mentioned a processor. The lecturer also understand processor under the canopy of PCI DSS.